sure what that task were and what that ask is, and be confident that we could actually make progress. I'm not sure we're there.
I think in terms of trying to push the FAA to engage with the community, we have always been willing to do that, and we're willing to continue to try and do that. But in terms of shaping a solution that the FAA can accept, I don't see a clear pathway for doing that.
Commissioner Hendricks and then Commissioner Conlon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In looking at the FAA's response, and it was very technical, so I appreciate very much staff's time to bring it down to my level. Does airport staff agree with their response? Is this 100% complete? I'm hearing that this could be a little flawed in some of their analysis. And is it appropriate for the commission to direct airport staff to issue a follow-up letter to the January 6th letter to kind of call them out on some of these points, i.e. weather?
So what I would say is that I would not say that it's incorrect information. Perhaps it's a little bit incomplete.
Right.
They may not have answered all of the questions that we wanted them to answer and that the community would want them to answer. In some follow-up conversations that we've had with them over various items, we've asked them to clarify some of this information. We have not received that back.
Okay. So we did respond on January 6th?
We did not respond in writing to that letter. We have had some phone conversations with them, asked them to expand a little bit on this information so that it's better for the community.
My recommendation would be to actually, rather than a phone call where somebody could possibly misinterpret or not understand the question, maybe it would be great to codify our questions back to the FAA on weather points and things that we find that could be, require a little more clarification from them, better data. That would be my recommendation.
I'm not sure that the answer that they're going to give you is going to be significantly different from the answer they gave you the first time. I don't, but, I don't believe that there is an answer here that they're able to provide that's going to satisfy all of the community's desires.
Commissioner Conlon.
Sorry.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Commissioner Hendricks, did you?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I think that it might behoove us to give it a second go. And I know that these people are suffering tremendously, and it's going to take time, but maybe another letter might be in order. Because I kind of get the feeling that they're kind of brushing us away, and they're not addressing the core issues that were raised.
That's why I feel like if we brought somebody in person, somehow, whether here or at another meeting, they would be much more accountable than just an email, just
Right.
push it aside.
Commissioner Conlon.
So I had a couple of thoughts. One, I'm not known for being the most politically correct guy in the room, but being a little more forceful in our correspondence isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we've been, pretty polite about things, and I'm not saying not to be polite. I'm just saying that as an airport and as an airport commission, we ought to try to put as much, I won't say teeth, but as much gum into it as we can, because we don't have a lot that we can do. But there were a couple of comments that were made today that that I'd have an interest in knowing more about. Does ATC have greater ability to, and I'm not up there flying a big jet, so I don't know, but does ATC have a greater ability to create some higher approaches, or is that all controlled by FAA? And how successful and what has the program been at SFO with the roundtable? And I'd certainly like to see, as a member of this commission, we get some information from the SFO team that's put this together to see what type of results they're seeing. so that we don't try to create something from scratch and make mistakes along the way. If they've got something, a model that's working, perhaps we ought to get the information on that model so that we can at least start out a little farther ahead than they started out with their roundtable. Those would be my thoughts.
Was there a staff person that might like to address that? Questions?
John?
I think that, staff would be willing to staff this meeting, this roundtable thing, as if we can ensure that the FAA is gonna be there with us. I think us speaking to the community is gonna get us to where we are here.
Right.
Whether it's a lot of
Agreed.
frustration. So I think if we can convince the FAA, and I think there's a couple things that we can do. I think recommending us to ask politely again, if we do have a relationship with the FAA that we have to maintain. So how much, force we put behind the letter, we deal with them on several different issues, and they're not one you want to be an enemy. But I think we could put the ask out again. But I think at the same time, to Jim's point, the most successful roundtable meeting that we've seen is the select committee that was driven by Congress. And so if the community would reach out to their elected officials at that higher level to ring the doorbell of the FAA and say, there's a community that wants some action, that would ensure the FAA is here with us, and then the airport would be willing to use this room and support the meeting and bring in as much data as we can. But you'd have someone from the region, again, you wouldn't have just a low-level person from the FAA. If there's a congressional ask, you'll get a regional administrator to come out like he did with the select committee to hear the issues and talk about solutions. So I think that would be the only way we could go forward, supporting it, supporting the time. And I don't think our letter's gonna do much other than we'll send a letter because you want us to, and we'll try and make it as forceful as possible. But I think the community has an opportunity here. You vote for these people every few years, they'll listen to you. I can't tell you to go talk to your Congress people, but if you do, I mean, I saw the select committee get set up, and so did Jim, and it was driven by the congressional offices. And that's really where the push came. I'm not trying to shove you off, but that's where the push came from, to get Glenn Martin out here all those times. So that would be my suggestion if you guys were making a motion or trying to create something.
From Mark Blackman. Okay, yes.
Well, I would just say that, again, we can send another letter, but the history behind this, whether it's Santa Cruz or Sunnyvale or Mountain View or Palo Alto, has been the same, that the FAA doesn't even have to answer us, that we have no leverage against the FAA, and it's that congressional action that ultimately controls their purse strings that makes them send a high-level person to a meeting. And the regional commission on it actually got at least heard by the higher levels of the FAA, whereas we can send letters all day long, but we've seen really no change to anything in the 2 years that we've been dealing, at least since I've been on the commission.
Yeah.
2 years of letters have produced no results. Just my 2 cents.
Well, it's a good 2 cents.
I think the only way this is gonna go anywhere is with the leverage against the FAA, and that's gonna come from, I have no doubt how organized everybody here is to get their congressional leaders to fund this. So if I could make a motion to get the ball rolling on adopting such a roundtable in San Jose, I'd like to do so.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Conaway. Any further discussion about it? Okay, well, if there's no additional discussion, we'll take a vote. So do you want to repeat your motion again, just for the record?
And I may not know the exact details, but the motion is, I'd like to get the ball rolling, whether staff has to invite the FAA or us to start creating a roundtable here at San Jose.
Okay, and then it's seconded, so, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Jim?
I think the only thing I would say is that in making that recommendation, one, it is a recommendation, we will need to go go to the council and ask for their blessing. It's not something you, as a commission, have the power to just do. So that there is a rest of the process after this, so I just want you to be aware of that.
Right.
It's a recommendation.
Okay.
That's understood.
Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
I'd like to just say that in doing this, obviously, the suggestion was earlier to get the information on how San Francisco put theirs together. We ought to have that information as the recommendation, and Mr. Webb, I think you and the airport staff, have an idea of what the direction the commission would like to go. If you can put that information together from SFO, so it gives the city council some direction on a possible platform or a way to organize this, I think it would be more successful than us just going to city council and say, hey, we want to do this and not have any real structure for how it would work. And none of us in this room know what the structure of SFO's team is. And I think that a little bit of research would be required before you could put forth a proposal to city council. Would that be a fair statement?
I think we would prefer to model it after the select committee with that congressional influence. The roundtable in San Francisco is a tool, but it's not the tool that's making the changes to the approach over the mountains. So I think there's a different forum for that, but I think right now, to get the motion going, I'd rather copy what they did on the select committee than a long-term roundtable that might be better suited for other problems. See if people want to dive into one specific issue, not all noise issues, around the area. They want to focus on this one issue, the south flow approach. And I think that's where the select committee would be better off.
I would like to add to that also that the public, and I don't know if you've talked or met with your elected representatives, but to what John has said, I think it's really important to sort of secure that support as well, so that you have the background of those representatives supporting you and having a place at the table. So I would really encourage you to continue to follow that goal. Commissioner.
I think I would add, Madam Chair, that without your state representatives and even senator involved in this at the FAA level, you're not going to see any results that you're pleased with until you get elected representatives involved. That's been the experience for the folks in Santa Cruz, and it looks like at least they're getting heard by the right people now.
Yes, Commissioner Coleman.
So looking at just the limited information that I have on the report of the Select Committee on South Bay Arrivals, it shows Anna Eshoo, Palo Alto, Sam Farr, Santa Cruz, and Jackie Spear from San Mateo. We don't have much representation there in the South Bay, and I would echo what you had referred to in that we need to find a way to engage these other congressional leaders in order to make this happen. If indeed the best recommendation is to model this after the select committee.
Yeah, I think that credibility is
And somebody controlling the purse strings
exactly.
eventually.
Okay, so I think we're done with this item. We don't have to have, do we have to accept the report?
Well, that's a motion. We have to vote on
I
that.
thought we voted.
We did.
Oh, you did vote?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correct. Okay, so moving on to 7.3, community noise concerns, and this would be a new community noise. So I don't believe we have anyone. Okay, so before we move on to item 8, I just want to thank the public for coming, all the work you put into your presentation, and the comprehensive information you provided to us. So thank you for your effort, and we wish you the best. Solving the problem.
Thank you
So
very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to